Alright, here we go with the test flight of the Eachine Wizard X220HV. I got a 4S 1300 milliamp China Hobby line battery on here, so let's go ahead and check it out with the 4S first. Power up the transmitter.
Welcome to OpenTX. Switch warning.
Okay, and power up the quad. Right, here we go. I don't have that many top-mounted battery quadcopters, and I did have a original Wizard X220 as well, and that one I didn't fly it that much. I crashed it all over the place. It was one of my first racers. Okay, so far with the 4S, it seems to be like it's got tons of power with the 4S. Oh wow, and this thing is rated 6S. 2306 1650 kV motors, so and well, look at that with the 4S. Not bad at all. I'm liking it. Yeah, so if you get this quadcopter, you are able to just fly it around with the 4S. Let's check out the punch. I mean, that's not bad of a punch. I mean, it's not like it's a rocket, but that's more than enough power. And if you're a beginner, you know, I think this might be the best way to go. Something like this that's rated a 6S and fly it with the 4S. So you still got enough power. Instead of going with a 4S quad and flying it with a 3S, that's kind of almost like going backwards. But doing it this way with a 4S on a 6S quad, it completely makes sense. Lots of power, very good handling. There you go, full on punch out with the 4S. And let's check out the acro. Yeah, very nice. Very nice and smooth. I think this will be a very nice beginner 5-inch FPV racer if you want to get into flying FPV. Okay, let's go ahead and bring it in. I'm going to slap on another 4S battery and check it out with some FPV. And then we'll check out a 5S and then a 6S after that. Nice. Alright, so here we go with the 4S battery. Same type of battery, 1300 milliamp 4S China Hobby line. So let's check it out. I think I've flown this battery about 5 times so far. Alright, our first FPV flight with the Wizard X220HV, and I do have a lot of diagonal as well as some horizontal interference lines on the video feed, but all in all the video is really nice and clear, and the color is really nice. It is a little bit of a gloomy day, so alright, I got an XSR receiver on here, so far it is feeling like as if I'm flying in stability mode almost. It is very locked in, and I'm running Betaflight default PIDs. Yeah, very smooth. Feels a lot different than what I'm used to. This feels a lot more stable with a top battery mount. Do a little punch. And with the 4S, you do have enough power to fly around, no problem.
RSSI low.
Yeah, that XSR receiver, man, not doing me very good distance here. Yeah, not bad. Oh yeah, pretty nice. Very locked in feel. And it's very snappy too on those flips. Yeah, more than enough power with the 4S. So like I said earlier, wow, this is a really nice starter 5-inch quadcopter, because you are able to fly it with the 4S. It's got more than enough power. And it has good handling too with this top battery mount. Oh wow, I am very impressed, guys. Very maneuverable. Wow. Maybe I should start getting top mounted battery quads for myself. And very smooth. A lot better than my first experience with the Wizard X220. The very first one. That one was I've flown it a few times and I crashed it, and it is still in a box. I need to take it out and fix it. I think one of the ESCs burnt up, and that's why I'm not flying it anymore. So one of these days I'll get it out and replace the burnt out ESC and maybe fly that thing around. But check it out. I'm right around 4 minutes of flight time with the 1300 milliamp 4S China Hobby Line battery. So let's go ahead and bring it in. Very good first impression with the 4S battery. There we go. All right, here we go with the 5S battery. It is a 1300 milliamp China Hobby Line 5S. So let's check it out, line of sight real quick before we get into the FPV. And right away, oh wow. Oh, right away I can feel so much more power. Oh yeah, lots of power with a 5S right off the bat. Let's do a little punch out. Oh yeah, much more power as expected with the 5S. But I think I hear a little bit of oscillations on the way down. Not a lot, maybe a little bit of prop wash type of oscillations. So let's go ahead and bring it in and place it on the landing pad and do a little FPV with the 5S. All right, here we go with the FPV flight with the 5S. Okay, I still see a lot of diagonal as well as horizontal disturbance lines. More diagonal, but there is some horizontal disturbance lines. Same thing as earlier.
RSSI low.
Okay, let me fly on this side of the field since the RSSI alarm keeps going off from the opposite side. Actually, it is running really nice with the Betaflight defaults with the 5S. Not bad at all with the 5S. Nice. Wizard X220HV. Wow. There's a little bit of prop wash there. All kinds of hang time. Pretty nice, pretty nice. Slight bit of oscillations here and there that I can feel. Maybe they're kind of like a little twitching as well. So let's go and check out how far I can go with this VTX before my RSSI kicks in.
RSSI low.
Alright, so the VTX is awesome. No problem, but there is a little bit of that, like I said, those diagonal plus the horizontal lines. So all in all, I think this is an excellent quadcopter, man. Right out of the box, Betaflight defaults, flown it with the 4S, now flying it with the 5S, and it is performing very nicely. Very controllable, very precise. Alright, let's go ahead and bring it in. So we're getting about another 4 minutes or so with a 1300 milliamp 5S battery. Alright, let's check it out with the 6S. There we go. Alright, here we go with the 6S battery. I got another 1300 milliamp China Hobby line, so let's go and check it out. I got the same Betaflight default PIDs. But the battery is significantly larger now because of the extra cells. Oh yeah, it just screams now because nice. There's a little bit of oscillations that I can hear with Betaflight defaults. Let's do a little punch out. Oh yeah, tons of power. Yeah. So the 1650 kV motors are just awesome with the 6S. Look at that. Alright, let's go ahead and bring it in. That was pretty good. Lots of power, guys. So not for a beginner, I don't think, but you can get used to this real quick like. Alright, let's slap on some FPV goggles. Alright, here we go with the FPV flight with the 6S. We've already flown 1 minute and 16 seconds in the line of sight testing. Oh yeah. I can hear oscillations, but I don't see that much vibrations in the FPV feed. There you go, a little bit of vibration there. Wow. It became more snappier. Yeah, there's a lot of oscillations on the turnaround, so you might want to lower down your PID values with a 6S from Betaflight default, but you are still able to fly around with Betaflight default. And we got a lot more authority now because it's a 6S. It just sounds a lot more higher pitched. It's a cool sound with the 6S. Yeah, all kinds of hang time with just one throttle punch. Whoa, 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 whoa! Well,
Telemetry lost.
what was that? That was a death roll. Oh, crap. Let me go and retrieve it. Alright, so brought it back to the table here, and it wasn't that far away from my spot where I was sitting, and also the self-powered buzzer was going off, and it is a very loud buzzer, so you can hear it from far away. So I was able to locate it without any difficulty. It landed basically on the top of the quadcopter, upside down sort of, and it caught the battery mostly and a little bit of the front, and the camera was a little dirty, so I just wiped it off, and the camera is still in good shape. The props got a little bit dirt on there, but none of them is kind of bent up. The only thing that broke off is the VTX antenna cover. That kind of flew off, and some of the stuff internally is kind of broken. The wiring is kind of broken there, so I'm not going to be using that antenna anymore. The battery got disconnected, not ejected, but it did get disconnected, and that was a good thing. So the self-powered buzzer was going to go off. Buzzer is really loud, so that is a good thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and clean it up a little bit and try and see if this thing will fly again. Alright, so here we are back at the house, and I was able to do a little bit of line of sight test flight right after I put everything back together out in the field, but I wasn't able to do any FPV flight because I wasn't having any video. And the reason why I wasn't having any video is because on the original VTX, the MMCX connector somehow got dislodged and it got ripped right off when I crashed it with that death roll. So the battery cable got pulled a little bit and somehow dislodged the MMCX connector. Now, if you take a look at how the VTX is attached to the quadcopter, it is positioned just like this. So the MMCX connector is connected here, and the cable is routed, and the antenna is connected. So when the XT60 got pulled a little bit, it dislodged the MMCX connector just from that tiny little tug. Because if you look at the stack formation here, we have a double stack formation, and in the front we have the flight controller and we have the 4-in-1, and in the back we have the VTX on the top, and we have a self-powered buzzer on the bottom. And if you look at the 4-in-1, there's the solder joints for the cable for the battery XT60 connector, and it's routed between the 4-in-1 and the flight controller, and it goes in the back and is routed between the VTX and the self-powered buzzer. So as you can see, the XT60 is right below of the VTX, and as you can see, when the MMCX connector is attached here, it is just perfect for it to just pull up and dislodge the connector, and that is exactly what happened to my unit. So I got a new VTX on here, but instead of placing it back exactly how it was, I've rotated 90 degrees. So now I got the MMCX connector coming off the side instead, and it is clearing the props from hitting it. So now we are good to go on there. Now also, I had the demag compensation in BL Heli Suite set to high per Joshua Bardwell's recommendation, and my idle speed was also set to 6 as well, but apparently that wasn't enough to prevent the death roll from happening flying it with a 6S battery on my unit. So if anyone out there have any other suggestions for me to try out, please let me know in the comments down below. So I'm gonna take it out once again and see if it flies. And because the death roll happened while flying it with the 6S, I'll be flying it with a 4S battery or a 5S battery until the problem of the death roll is resolved. All right, so thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Have a great day, and we shall see you again next time.